Hi, the name's Aman. In this video, I intend to give you a walkthrough of pivot tables and show you how easy it is to analyze data. Before you get or try to create a pivot table, it is imperative that you try to understand what is the data all about. Now, in this case, it says safety data. Let's try to look at it. It gives us date. It shows injury location. Now, what is injury location? So it says, gives us various things over here where injury location on a particular part of the body, where it could be abdomen, etc., etc. Okay. You have the gender, age group, the incident type. So what was the injury? So say for example, somebody might have received burns on the arms, abdomen, etc., etc. So this is the incident type. Owing to this accident, the employee would not have been able to attend work, so the days were lost. Now, obviously, because days were lost and the company has to keep paying salary, the company incurs cost. So it means this. There are other information which is the name of the plant. This data is about some plant or some company in United States, albeit all this data is randomized. I mean, this is only a data set, so none of this is real. Okay. The report type, in which shift did it happen, and the department. Having understood this, let us look at the pivot table, which you will be able to find in the Insert tab. Click on the pivot table. Right now it says Table 2. It is always recommended to have a pivot table on a new worksheet, which is the default selection. You can also select it on the existing worksheet, but for ease of work, new worksheet is always recommended. So I just say OK. On the left hand side, this is where a pivot table will be created. On the right side, you have the pivot table fields, and all these information that you see is nothing but the column headers from our data. Now let's look at creating the pivot table. What I need to do is, let's look at the gender. I have two options. One is I click this. When I click this, it appears directly under the rows, female, male. Okay. Alternately, I also have the option of dragging it to rows. Not just that, I can also drag it into columns. There is no hard and fast rule that it can only be in rows or columns. To my eyes, information which is in rows seems much better and easier for me to read. Okay, now we have this. Let's look at the incident cost for both these genders. Now we know what an incident cost is. So it is a numbers. It should be going into the value field. So I just drag it into values. And here you go. Female, the incident cost was $71,000. Male was $6,46,000. The total being 71. If I do a right click anywhere here, I can also say show values as percentage of grand total. So I also have percentages. There's, if I want percentage and numbers both, what I could do is I keep this as it is. I again drag the sum of incident cost in values. And here I say show values as percentage of grand total. So you have numbers, which is figures, and percentages both. In case we do not want the decimals, we can go into the Home tab and we can use the increase decimals, which in our case we do not want the decimals. So I can reduce the decimals to 0. We can also do that. Okay, well, this is the way we have created the simplest of the pivot tables. Now let's look at a further analysis. The second thing which I could possibly do is the age group. So right now it is the sum of incident cost and the gender only. I can have the option of dragging the age group into rows. When I drag it, this is how it looks like. Okay. Females, the age group, the expense, and the percentages. Male, this is the way. This shows how easy it is to analyze this data. Not just that, out of this we derive some information. From information we derive some sort of a wisdom. If we have a closer look at the data or the pivot table here, what is it that we realize is there is a particular age group which has incurred the maximum number of accidents, costing a lot of money to the company. For females, let's try to understand based on the percentage. Which one is this? The highest between, this is 9% is the total. 18 to 24 is 2. 3.9 is the highest out of these four. So let me indicate that by red. Let's look at the same data for men. 16, 31, 24, 17, 31. Is there something that we derive out of this? Yes, we derive some knowledge out of this which says in whether it's females or whether it's males, the age group of 25 to 34 has had the maximum number of accidents. Now, what is it that can be done? This information can be converted, or the knowledge can be converted into wisdom. So, the plant managers, of course, they can increase the number of days of training, etc., in terms of safety training for all these employees. The other thing which they can also do simultaneously is they can instruct HR that based on this analysis, whenever a new employee joins and he or she is going to work on the shop floor and they are in this age bracket of 25 to 34, the organization should avail of a higher insurance value so that it doesn't harm the company as much as it does in this case. This is some information which we could derive only when we created a pivot table. Had we just been using this info data, we would not have derived this information, owing to which it led to some sort of a knowledge, and knowledge led to wisdom. I hope you have found value out of this. Thank you and look forward to many more videos.